this is Bonnie, and I have a new project that I want to start on. And so it's probably going to be a couple different videos because I'm going to do parts of the complete the project. So the first part of it is going to be using Sizzix Tim Holtz. This is called Otis, and the number is 665998. And I'm going to be making him, and I'm calling my project Once in a Blue Moon. So instead of making him yellow, I'm going to be making him blue. And I have gone ahead and I have laid out all the pieces and the colors that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. So if you want to write this down or anything in case you want to make one similar, I haven't completed it yet, so there might be some variations in the end, but just to let you know, this is what I've got going so far. So I've got them all laid out in terms of how I would layer them. And this would be the first one, the main background. And I might end up making him a little bit darker. We'll have to see how they all go together. And I use a weather wood for him. And then the next one, the next layer, and you can see how these, I try to lay what I do, I should really back up and tell you. Before I start inking any of the paper, that's all I did was ink white cardstock. But what I do is I pull out all of the different dyes and how they will get layered. And then I try to see how they would go together. And I can't really do that unless I look at the ink. So I take the lids off and I put them like that, and I look and I go, okay, this is going to work. This is lighter. This is darker. So that's kind of like how I go to figure. So anyway, like I said, that's the first layer, and that is weathered wood. And then I decided on Pumice Stone for the next layer. I'm kind of stacking those up to the side. Hopefully they don't fall. And then the next one I wanted, like I said, I'm going with a blue moon, so I was going with more of a gray and blue look to the backgrounds and everything also. This is Speckled Egg. And to me, this kind of like works really well with gray. And then I thought, a bright color. This color might be the one that will change. I am not really sure. But that is Salty Ocean. I'll show you that one closer. And then the last one, I want it to be a little bit lighter. And this one is Tumbled Glass. Okay. Then there's little bits that go with it. And that is, for example, the inside of the tongue. I decided I didn't want red. I didn't want it to be as noticeable. And plus, I might add something different. I saw a cat that was added from the Sizzix line and Tim Holtz line that I might add there. So I'm not really sure, but it's not going to hurt for me to complete it. So I decided instead of going with the red, as shown, I am going with the black. And these are the pieces that would be cut out of black. This is the little string that hangs from the moon, which is black on here. And then this would be the tongue. Again, it'll be the black. And then the back of the bat. So that is the pieces that will go with black soot. And then I decided to go with a gray and to go on top. And that would be Hickory Smoke. And I'm assuming, yeah, I know I have the right pieces here. So this is part of the tongue. I have enough so that if I mess up on the tongue, I will show you if I didn't layer them right. So, because this one might be the darker one, but I have enough of the paper inked up, so it doesn't matter, I can change it. But those are the two pieces for there, and I'll let you know if I do have to change that. And I use Hickory Smoke, like I said. Okay, and then for the tip of the tongue, which is what you can see on here, that part right there, the brighter part, I decided I am going to go with a pink, which is the Saltwater Taffy. And then I wanted the star, and the star in here, there was red and a gold looking. I know there needs to be a contrast. I'm not really 100% sure about this contrast, but I'm going to give it a try. This would be the background, which is red in the picture, is wild honey. And then this one is mustard seed. And that would be the main color of the star. So I've got everything inked up and ready to cut out so that I can put it together. I'll do that next. Okay, so I've got all of the moons cut out in the pieces that go with it. And there's one thing that I want to do before I start putting together. What I did do is I just layered them on top of each other just to see how they would look. And I really like them. The only thing that I'm not really excited about, because I want to keep the mouth a lighter color, is the eyes. So what I'm going to do is, you can either make it a darker color so that you don't have to do this, or you can do one of two things. You can take your second die and you can just cut out these pieces right here in black. Or you can do what I'm going to do. I can see the, let me show you really close. See, I can see where the impression is and where that color is going to be. So I am just going to color those in. And even if I extend over those lines, it's not going to matter because it's not going to show. What is the other thing that I could have done? I could just have added more black soot to this area because it's not going to show. Only the parts that are like, I want to say the window to the top layer are going to show. I'm not going to do the nose because I'm perfectly happy with the nose being a little bit lighter color, but I really do want the eyes to be a little bit darker. And I'm going to show you how that looks. I am going to go outside of the lines just to make sure I get them all. Okay, so that's what it looks like when you color it in. So then when I go to put the next layer on, you can see the eyes. I think I'm going to have to color it in a little bit more. But you can see that they show up a lot better now. Before they were too light, and I really do like a darker pupil, if you want to call it that. And get that little line right there. Okay, so now I'm ready to start gluing them. And so that's my base layer, and that will even tell you, it'll say, well, it says gray, but it's my base layer. They go by colors. So I need my second layer, and you can lay these all on top of each other, and you know, you will then know which one goes next on top of it. Of course, my glue wants to be stopped up. There we go. I know people use different things. I really like using this type of a glue, the smaller nozzle at the end, because I can get into these little places. And I like the fact that when the glue dries, it is more substantial. The piece feels, I don't know, more sturdy. So then what you're going to do is you want to match up, before you press down, you want to match up all those circles. The circles that you could see that were underneath. And then you can press down. Okay, so that's layer 2. Well, actually, layer 1, layer 2, yes. And then the next layer that we did, and that would be layer 3. And again, I said at the beginning what color each one of these were. I will list that in the description below too, so you know each layer what color I used. You can use whatever colors you want, but this will give you an idea of how you can change things out a little bit. Now, if I would have cut those out of black, like I told you from the second one, they would have been more raised up too. Okay, again, I'm matching the dots and I'm matching the score lines that are underneath. I'll get that a little bit closer and you can see. Let's see how that looks. Super cute. All right. So then I am on, it goes together really quickly. So then I'm on to layer number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that many layers really, pretty cool. And I was really happy with, just like I said, I checked it. I wasn't 100% sure about this color, if it was going to be too dark, this blue, but I liked it. Even this color is really pretty. You know, just going with that color, that Speckled Egg. All right, again, now I'm matching up the circles, and I'm matching up all the lines, oops, underneath. My finger got stuck on that. Okay, pick that up. I'm going to match up those circles. And that usually then puts me in line to what I'm supposed to be for everything else. Circle up there can be adjusted a little bit, and then you can press down. Okay, I like that it's a little bit wonky. I like the fact that it has all the different shapes and it's not a perfect shape, a perfect crescent moon. I love it. Okay, and this is my last layer for the moon. I also did, as you know, the tongue that goes inside. And I did the little star that hangs. All right. It's really fun. It's really fun to make these. Okay, because this is a smaller piece, it's a little bit more delicate in terms of putting it on. Again, I'm going to be matching up. The circles are my guide. The circles really are what helps you line that up. Whoops. Now if your finger gets stuck on it, then you line it up. And it's super cute. Okay, so that's my Once in a Blue Moon. He's super cute. Now I'm going to put his tongue. I think I'm going to put the tongue together separately and then put it in there, but it will fit inside just like that. And I did do it darker, but it's gray, so it's just going to be outlined. So those are my, I'm going to go ahead and show you these again. That's the first layer for the tongue. That's the second layer, and how you can tell the difference is this has a cut out. This just has the score line. And then this has a score line. So you know which one goes on top of the other, and then obviously the tiniest piece goes on top. So I'm going to go ahead and put the one with a hole in it on top of the one that's solid. And you also got to pay attention in terms of the color you cut it out of. But what's not hard is these are so tiny you can use scraps. See, so that really basically lines up perfectly to that black, and the only thing that shows through is that little black right there. Let's see if we can get that. You can see that. So, which is really what I wanted. I wanted it to match. I really didn't want it to stand out too much. But if you do, make it a different color. It will stand out. I'm not really sure if I'm going to put a little bit of I was hoping a little bit of the black was going to show, and it's not. It fits on perfectly. So because of that, it's going to totally blend into what I have right there, and I do want to have a little bit of a contrast. So what I'm going to do is I am going to bring back, because like I'm doing this for the first time. Let's see here. Not this one. I think I want a darker, not Hickory Smoke. So I am going to have to go with the black soot. So I'm going to grab a little piece of paper really quickly, because I don't want to get the ink on my pad here. All right, so I'm just going to bring this back, and I'm going to take one of my smaller brushes, blending brushes, get a little bit of black on it, ever so slightly, because I don't want a lot. I just want enough to give it a little bit of contrast. Let me get that closer. Okay. I just want the edges, whoops, I just want the edges to have just a little bit of contrast. And it's tiny, and you can end up coloring the whole thing, so you got to be kind of careful when you put it on. I don't want the pink part really to be the contrast. I think the pink in itself shows up. So that's good. That's what we want. Let me show you. You can see that there's a little bit of contrast. You'll see it better on the moon. Let me just raise this up just a little bit so I can get underneath. And let's see. I think you'll be able to see that. I just want it to be really subtle. I'm still not 100% sure about coloring those eyes in because they have a little bit of a glossy finish because of the pen that I used. So I might end up cutting out the eyes and gluing them in anyway. So, see, it's just a subtle tongue instead of being something, you know, really noticeable. So then the other thing I did, we'll do this really quickly, because I think I am going to cut those out of the black, because I have extra black. I cut out 2 of the, I don't know what they call these, the star string, the bow. I cut out 2 because I want it to be a little bit more substantial. It's not that you can't put the ink on the back, you can, but I want mine to be a little bit more substantial because of the project I'm making. And like I said, this is just the first step. I'm using Otis for part of my project. He's I would say, pretty much substantial. I think I would have had to have, I have a feeling I should have inked the wrong side to make this match up better. But guess what? I can make that work. You want to know how? I'm just going to put ink over it. But FYI, when you go to do it, ink the other side because it's not symmetrical. See? So what you're going to do to make that work, and like I said, I should have done it. I should have inked the, you know, put it on the wrong way because it's not symmetrical. But you just get back in here with your brush and your black soot, and you can just cover that right back up. Now, if it's not covering right there, that's going to be because of the glue, and I can make that work. But that's what I would do, seeing as you saw me make that little mistake. The best way to do it is to ink the, ink the wrong side and put it together because it's not symmetrical. Okay, so that is going to be glued on to this, and I'm assuming you can put it wherever you want to. The other thing I need though is the star. And I have a feeling that yeah, that's good. There's not as much of a contrast between these two either, but I'm fine with that. If you want more of a contrast, make one darker. And in the picture, the piece on the right is darker. And so is mine, but I used colors too similar. And again, you can fix that too by coming back in and inking it up if you want to, before you even attach it. So that star, whoops, is going to get attached, I guess, to that. Just like that. And that's how it's going to go together. It keeps sticking to my fingers. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and glue that on there because I know that's not going to move. And what might change is the position in which I attach it to the moon, because with my project I'm not 100% sure. So I am just gluing that piece right on there. Oops. And it's sticking to my fingers. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to loosen that up so you can see just a little bit. That's how he's going to go on. He's just going to, this piece is just going to be glued right on to him. and then he'll be finished. Oh, let me put him more in the center. Let's get close. There we go. You can see he is so cute. I really, really like him. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and cut the black pupils and put those inside. So, at any rate, that is Otis for the first part of the project. And I think he's super... Oh, forgot to show you the bats. Or the bat. There is a bat. You can make several if you want to that go with Otis. And this is like if you're going to put him on a card, it would just go by him on a card. I'm not putting him on a card. I'm making a project. Okay, this goes all the way up to the top. Makes sense. That's where the lightest part would be. All right, so there's our cute little bat. There we go. Cute bat. So the bat will go with him, and I think what I'll probably end up doing is using a piece of acrylic at the top, and he'll hang off of that. So that's the first part of our project, and I'm glad you stopped by. Like I said, I will have the information below. I'm going to get that a little bit higher, and in the description so you know what I used. And for the next part of the project, just to let you know to stop by again, I am going to be using these pumpkins. And they are called, well, Pumpkin Duo, and it's 665999. So the next video I make, I'll be making these, and then the third video, I'll be putting everything together. Thanks so much for stopping by.